Welcome back, everybody, to the Filmmakers Roundtable, the podcast dedicated to films, filmmaking, and getting insight from filmmakers working in the industry. I'm Thomas.
I'm Dylan.
And Ryan is not with us again today. He's still taking time for himself, but that's okay.
Yep.
So how we doing, Dylan?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. Good. Despite my overacting, I am doing pretty well, actually.
Cool.
Like I said last week, on Monday, since this is recorded on Friday, like I said, Monday, I'm switching between projects every week. Currently, right now, I'm still working on a rap battle.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, last week, I was still working on the rap battle. I'm still trying to get voice actors for 2 parts in there.
Yeah.
So that's taking its time, but I did release some, basically what people nowadays call shit posts.
Yeah.
For content this week.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, I'm doing alright, so, so, again, I'm still working on Awaken. Progress has been slowed down a bit because I've been halted by another project, but, that's alright, so, we'll be getting on that this coming week, in the coming weeks.
I forgot to mention something. I'm currently, writing down just some. I've been getting a lot of ideas because I went out this last weekend with my folks to one of those country homes where it's all in you got all these houses in the hills, several miles out from town and the nearest grocery store, but it's right by a lake. I got an idea, and I sent that idea to you, Tom. So what I'm doing right now is I've been just opening Word documents and writing down these ideas, if I have a title, I write down the title. If I got a location, I write down the location. Just basically components that I can put together for a bigger idea along down the line.
I don't think you sent that to me.
You sure? Could have sworn I sent it to you. Over Skype?
Maybe you did, I just don't remember.
It's all good.
Alright,
but yeah, that's what also I've been up to.
So yeah. Although unlike the past week, I didn't work myself to exhaustion to where I had to take a break. I actually didn't sleep for Tuesday night through Wednesday. I didn't sleep.
How are you alive?
I don't know. It's just once a year I have to go once or twice a year I go without sleeping because my body just won't let me. I don't know why. So but I did get the chance to watch some movies and TV shows. So in that time, so
we've got some things to talk about today.
Yeah, which we'll do that. Okay, there's nothing else to say.
Let's get right into the news.
Into movie news. So back on the first or second episode, we talked about the new popular Oscar award. Basically awarded an achievement award,
for outstanding achievement in film.
Yeah.
And for those who remember those first episodes, we were talking about how there was criticism of this move. Yeah. Stating that this would undermine the prestige of the Oscars.
Exactly.
And that it was a way for summer movies, which aren't bad. It's just that when you think Oscars, you think of a thinking piece. You think of something that's very
like Schindler's List.
Yes.
Or
you don't think Transformers or Infinity War as good as that latter film is.
But anyway, so in today's news, apparently the Oscars the Film Academy has scrapped it for 2019.
Yes, they did. According to the New York Times, they have scrapped the idea of the popular category. However, there are still remnants of it sticking around. But as this article by the New York Times describes it, it's a bit of a kerfuffle that's coming at the same time of a growing push for from audio technicians, just a lot of engineers, because when you think of the Oscars, you tend to see the actors, the directors, like the really big faces of film. And for those who don't know, they actually cut 6 to 8 categories that all the categories are rewarded that same night, but some of them, at least 6 to 8, are recorded during commercial breaks and then edited into a montage later in the show.
Yeah.
Because according to this article, the last... it's right down here. I read through this earlier. Oh, yes. The last Oscars in March were actually stretched to nearly 4 hours. So there's a lot that they have to get in a certain amount of time, and
Yeah.
and so they have to make cuts here or there. But a lot of people who are audio technicians and sound engineers, or just guys behind the scenes, are really pushing for their categories to get representation, like the directorial achievement, actors, etc.
Yeah.
And that's coming at the same time that they're trying to get this popular category in.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because like we're filmmakers, we understand the behind the scenes aspects of that, everything. We can, how like editors, like they're some of the most recognized. Is that the word?
Underappreciated?
Underappreciated aspects of filmmaking. Editing is personally for me my favorite part of the aspect, because the pre-production, it's like a nightmare. It's just like you're not even sure if it's going to get past there. So.
Well, that's the fact of the matter. You're getting over that hurdle of getting started.
Yeah, check out last week's
Call back.
Yeah. So, this is interesting to say. So they haven't totally canned it. It's just that they're just for this next coming Oscars.
There's going to be remnants, and if you guys all remember, there was the last article we talked about when we were talking about this category was that I'm trying to remember the article itself. I can't remember the author, but the author asserted that the Oscars were always pandering when people were complaining that the popular category would be pandering to summer movies. But that's a discussion for another time. But I can see where people, like we said back then, we can see where people have their gripes with the popular category allowing a lot of summer movies to come in, because we like our fair share of summer movies, but we know that they're not Schindler's List or...
No.
We keep going back to Schindler's List.
Yeah. Ed Wood.
Yes.
Did that win any Oscars?
That'll be a podcast correction.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is interesting to think about. Again, it's like, because like we said, like Avengers Infinity War, that made $4 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So... $4 billion, which is one of only 4 films to do that in history of film. So, like, that'd be something.
Yeah, and this article here actually brings up Black Panther, which was actually had major success overseas.
Yeah.
So they were bringing there's a lot of things that are going into this.
That's like
it's a kerfuffle.
Something like Jurassic World that did like $2 billion, $1.3 billion in profit. So it was
like Jurassic World, I wouldn't see going to the Oscars.
No, not the most recent one.
No, I like Jurassic World, but that's a thing for another time. I wasn't a big fan of the sequel to Jurassic World, but that's as I said, another thing.
Yeah. Okay, so if nothing else, our next bit of news, Mattel takes a page from Hasbro's playbook and launching their own film division.
Finally, we're gonna get a Barbie movie on the big screen.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened before.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. There's been. I remember some TV movies coming out on Nickelodeon back in the day.
And then there was a lot of straight to DVD stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently she's got they've been doing web shorts. Like this article from CNBC noted that a lot of Mattel's brands have been doing a lot of has been going to the web for a lot of their content video-wise. Right. But now they're going to be doing a film division led by Academy Award-nominated producer Robbie Berner, known for her work on Dallas Buyers Club, Mirror Mirror, and The Fighter.
Yeah. Interesting. So, yeah. What else has Mattel made that has a face on it?
That's a good question. Because when you think Mattel, you think Barbie.
Yeah.
That's like one of their biggest faces.
Yeah.
Oh well, you can look up some more stuff, because like literally on this article, the first picture in it is Barbie's all up on a wall in a big rose gallery.
That's true.
And according to this article from CNBC, Mattel is actually turning to Hollywood to solve its sales woes, because with the gradual shift of kids going towards electronic toys and video games, they haven't been having a need for a lot of traditional toys.
Yeah.
So, and especially with the recent hit of Toys R Us, rest in peace, Robbie.
Yeah.
But for a second, I think I got that name wrong. But with the recent hit to Toys R Us, toy sales have been really weird for Mattel right now.
Yeah. they have Hot Wheels.
Yes, they do. They do have Hot Wheels.
So
I think there was something. There wasn't a movie, but I think there was a show for Hot Wheels.
I don't think they own this, but they made He-Man figures.
God,
I'm just looking at.
I can't wait for a Mattel Cinematic Universe.
Oh god,
Barbie, He-Man.
I'm just looking at the images on Google, but PC superhero girls, which basically is just Batgirl and Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and
they're actually trying to get something up and running with that.
I mean,
Lauren Faust, who actually worked on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Her husband was behind Powerpuff Girls, and the lady who brought My Little Pony to Gen 4 My Little Pony to television.
They also have the Thundercats lair.
Thundercats?
I don't know if they own that, but they made the
Thundercats.
toy line. They made the toy line.
Probably commissioned by the original owners.
So, but I don't know if they do something like the Lego Movie could work.
That could work
if there's a level of self-awareness to it.
Well, that's what a lot of people were saying that Barbie's new television show had, because they would break a lot of they would make a lot of fourth wall jokes about the fact that they're just dolls in a fake house.
They have a Pocahontas Barbie doll inspired by the 1995 Disney film. Polly Pocket. Remember that?
Oh God, I remember that. Oh, when I was with my babysitter back in the day, all the girls, well, not all the girls that were, I was with a babysitter who took a lot of kids under her roof.
Right.
Some of the girls had Polly Pockets, and they would always bring them, and they would always end up losing 2 or 3 pieces by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because we were kids. We couldn't keep it all clean.
They also made the Jimmy Neutron toys.
Jimmy Neutron had toys?
Very few of them. I remember I had a few of them back in the day. Remember they had the rocket ship.
Were those from? I think those came from
KP Toys.
Oh, okay. Because I remember there being think Burger King.
Yeah, Burger King and Wendy's.
Okay.
Both made them. I remember. So yeah.
But
I'm trying to see what else here.
But
Pixel Chicks.
Pixel Chicks.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I have some vague memory of it. Oh, the Power Glove.
It's so bad.
It's bad. They also made the Intellivision and ColecoVision.
You're right.
So,
Mattel Electronics presents B-17 Bomber.
They have some connection to Rugrats, but apparently they're going to revive the cartoon.
Yes, they
and
are.
A live action
CGI hybrid.
Oh God, I hope not. I'm just getting Baby Geniuses vibes.
That's the first thing I told you when I saw that news.
Yeah.
I've never seen Baby Geniuses, but I've heard and I've seen.
Yeah. Okay, but we're getting off track here. So if there's nothing else to say, let's move on to our next bit of news.
Definitely. Barbie movie 2019.
No. Well, I think we're gonna have to give it a little more time than that.
Definitely.
So Top Gun is getting a sequel in San Diego this month.
Well, according to comicbooks.com, Top Gun Maverick, the sequel to Top Gun, will be filming in San Diego this month and throughout October. This comes after they actually filmed at the Naval Air Station the Naval Air Station North Island in May of this year. So this, to fans, according to this article, is just another reminder that this sequel is happening.
I actually didn't even hear about this.
Well, I heard some rumblings before, but I never got a firm confirmation on that they actually started filming.
So is Tom Cruise in it?
Yes, the cast of Top Gun Maverick includes Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, Glenn Powell, Jennifer Connelly, Miles Teller, John Hamm, Ed Harris, and Louis Pullman.
I think that's most of the original cast.
Hey, that's a feat. It's a good thing they're still around for a sequel. Let's hope it's good.
Yeah. I haven't seen Top Gun in a while.
It's going to be directed by Joseph Kosinski?
Joseph Kosinski, yeah.
From a screenplay by Peter Craig, Justin Marks, and Ashley Edward Miller and Zach Stentz. The plot is said to involve Maverick mentoring Goose's son, played by Teller. Chris, no, not Chris. Cruz previously told E! News that the film is about a guy who flies jets, which doesn't really give away any real details about the film.
Well, that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like the first movie.
Yeah.
But all the actors are older.
And Val Kilmer's fat.
They'll probably develop de-weighting technology. They got de-aging technology. They'll invent de-weighting.
Yeah. Or it'll be like Porkins.
I'm having a little trouble here.
Eject! I can hold it. Oh, no, never mind. Can't hold it. Eject button would be here. Oh!
Oh, God, my sides.
Okay, so, yeah, I guess we'll have to see. When is this projected to come out?
This is actually projected to come out... So the date was around here. Oh, yeah, here it is. Here's where it was. Top Gun Maverick will be released on June 26th, 2020.
Okay.
At the turn of the decade.
Well, it's given itself some time. So, but, I don't know. I just realized the decade's almost over. We got another year and a half left.
Don't remind me. I'm old.
I am old too. I'm just thinking, how old am I going to be in 2020?
I'll be 25.
Yeah, I'll be 24, or turning 24. 24 years old. Wow. I'm trying to think. Where am I going to be when I'm 24?
Where are we gonna be when 2020 hits?
Yeah. So much.
2020 party over is out of time.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah. Oh man, so much could happen.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll all see what happens.
Wonder what we still do in this podcast.
Here's to hoping. I hope so.
Well, if we'll all even still be in the same location.
We'll see, man. We'll see. And if we're not, we'll make it work.
Yeah. We have Skype. We can record things together. So anyway. Okay, so our next news, a bit of somber news.
Mm-hmm.
Burt Reynolds, the classic Hollywood film star, died, passed away yesterday, or this past week.
Yesterday.
At the age of, this past week, as you're listening to this past week, at the age of 82.
I'm sorry. He was the much loved star in such hits as Deliverance, Boogie Nights, and famously turned down the roles of James Bond and Han Solo.
That's true.
Yep.
I thought that was Kurt Russell.
It was Kurt Russell, but Burt Reynolds, along with Al Pacino as well.
No, Kurt Russell was also offered Luke Skywalker.
It was Al Pacino who got offered Han Solo, actually, too.
Yeah. Yep. I'm Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken is who?
Han Solo. Yeah.
Get him on SNL. I want.
I believe they did a skit, or I don't. It might have been SNL, but they did a skit. Someone did a skit of that. It's like, yeah, but this time I got the money. Even I get bored sometimes. Do you think I had the choice? I feel like I'm sounding like Tommy Wiseau.
You dumped your cargo at the first sign of a fleet? I didn't dump nothing. It's bullshit.
Okay, we're making a bit too much light over famous actor's death.
Well, hey, that's how we process. How we process death.
True. So,
but it is a time of celebration. Burt Reynolds, star of The Longest Yard, as well. He died at the age of 32 this past week.
82.
82. I'm sorry. What did I say?
You said 32.
I'm sorry. 82. I'm terribly sorry. Things come into my brain, and I know.
I get it. I've been there. That happens to me all the time. But
he died of cardiac arrest after. Yeah, he had been dealing with heart trouble ever since February 2010 when he had a quintuple heart bypass. Yeah, and at the time of his death, he had been filming Quentin Tarantino's movie about the Charles Manson murders, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yep,
so is he in the middle of filming it?
Well, this article just says he was filming, so we don't know if that was at the tail end or that's going to be tricky.
Yeah. And you know Tarantino's not going to do digital CT character.
Well, he'll have to get a body double. He'll have to do what they did for Shemp in the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Get a body double and hope people don't notice until years later.
We'll see. But yeah, I didn't see a lot of his films. I remember seeing some of he was in a couple of Western shows back in the day. My grandmother used to watch those shows, on TV Land and all those things. So yeah, yeah, he's one of those great actors from the 20th century. So that we have sadly lost. So.
Mm-hmm. And for all of you who are wondering, for those who remember the promotional poster of Deadpool laying on his side on a bare rug, that's where you can thank Burt Reynolds for doing that.
Yeah.
There's a famous picture of him doing that exact same thing, but he's stark naked. It's tasteful because he is covering himself up, but that's where it comes from. Yeah. In fact, Ryan Reynolds, after the news came out, put both images side by side saying, "This man, he did the original, he did it better, and he did it naked." God bless you, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay, so
he's actually from Michigan. He was from Michigan.
Burt Reynolds?
Yeah, Burt Reynolds was from Michigan. Transplanted to Florida. He was a American football player in his youth, and he switched to acting after a knee injury in a car accident.
Interesting.
And he actually lost out on a role to Marlon Brando.
Huh.
Yep. He soon, according to The Guardian, he soon found regular work on stage and in TV, but delayed heading to Hollywood, citing a lack of confidence after being turned down during his first audition for the 1957 war romance Sayonara, for looking too much like Marlon Brando. And Brando got the role.
Interesting. Okay, well...
And his first movie was actually 1961's Angel Baby. A pulp thriller about religious zealotry in the American South.
I'll have to check that out. Interesting. Okay, so I think we've said enough about that. So
and he also played in Smokey and the Bandit, which I still need to see.
So do I. But yeah. Okay. So
Godspeed, you magnificent bastard.
Rest in peace, Bert. So yeah, let's move on to our next final bit of news. New trailer for Halloween dropped, which we both watched. So.
Yes, I've been waiting to have this discussion with you, my man.
Yeah.
I started having it on. I started gushing over my knowledge about a certain film franchise because I made a connection to it, and you told me, "Wait, man, save it for today."
Well, that was on no sleep, so I wasn't going to read all that.
Understandable. So, we're going to leave you a link to that in the description below. Mm-hmm. But for those who have seen the latest trailer, you've seen that Laurie Strode is not having any of it. Mm-hmm. She's trying to protect her family because she knows that Michael Myers is going to be coming back. Yeah. And I made the connections to the Friday the 13th movies with Tommy Jarvis. For those who aren't familiar with the Friday the 13th movies, Tommy Jarvis was a reoccurring character starting in parts 4 all the way to 6. He was in 4. He was the kid who originally killed Jason. Part 5, he was a bit insane in a halfway house, and it was kind of implied that he was going to be the next Jason. And then in 6, he accidentally resurrected him. He was the character who was well aware of what Jason was, but no one believed him. And I was seeing and I told Tom I was getting a vibe, Friday the 13th Part 6 vibe from this new trailer.
Yeah, and I asked, is that good or bad? Because I haven't seen too many of the Friday the 13th movies.
Well, 6 was actually received much better than Part 5, because Part 4 was originally supposed to be the final chapter, and that's what they marketed it as.
Yeah.
Then Part 5 came out with a Fox Jason. I'm trying to do the F-A-U-X word, but pseudo Jason. Jason wasn't actually in that movie outside of flashbacks and hallucinations. And it was received a bit lukewarm because it wasn't the actual Jason running around. So when Part 6 came out, it was kind of like a jumpstart for the latter half of that the original run of the movies. Mm-hmm. People really liked Part 6, and people really loved Part 7. People were kind of iffy on Part 8, and then Part 9, everybody didn't like. Well, not everybody, but people were very polarized by it.
Interesting.
That's a discussion for this October, but I could talk for hours about Friday the 13th, man.
Oh, I'm sure you could. So,
I mean, I've watched too many documentaries on this thing to count.
Yeah. So I saw the trailer, and I'm just like, I've said this before, I'm not a huge fan of horror movies, but I saw it as just like, Okay, we'll see. Maybe.
And what I like, it's not the troll. I remember you, and since we're going to be talking about Jimmy Neutron later in this episode, I wanted to bring up the episode where the Yokians came back and how you hated that one because it was the nobody leaves that one guy who knows the truth.
Yeah, I hate those stories. It was done so many times on Nickelodeon. Even Avatar did it. Jet.
Yeah, I remember.
As much as I love Avatar with all my heart, but I hate that episode. So,
but I think this one, is going to be able to get away with it because it's only her family who doesn't believe her. Mm-hmm. It's just from the way the trailer looks, it's going to be limited to her, and we're already on Laurie Strode's side because we've been through her with. Even if they don't count those sequels anymore, we've been through her with the original, the few sequels that she was in later on, H2O and the beginning of Resurrection. I don't know. I think this might be. I think this might be an entertaining one to go see.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Okay. So.
Oh. Oh, dang it! You're trying to kill Jimmy Neutron.
No, Nickelodeon already did that.
With no proper send-off, mind you.
And Planet Sheen. Yeah. Okay, but on that note...
Nickelodeon, we want a revival where Jimmy rescues Sheen.
Well,
and then we do something completely
different. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Okay. So, the next one, on our next topic, the movies we've seen. So, Dylan, what'd you see this week?
Okay. Here's a little story from Days of the Dead. We were in the middle of the room where a lot of the celebrities were doing their autographs and picture taking, but there were actually a few booths there with people selling movies. We stopped by a booth because I recognized the name on one of these DVD cases, The Rake. For those who aren't familiar with the creepypasta community, The Rake is one of the more famous creepypastas out there. It's one of the more recognizable monsters in the creepypasta community. So I was looking at this movie and I was like, is this directly based or is this just a coincidence? So I awkwardly asked because I didn't know if they were familiar with the term creepypasta, so it was a bit awkward about that until they said based on the creepypasta, and I was like, okay, I'm full. I've been given permission to nerd out.
Right.
And they said it was initially based on it, and then they expanded it a bit, but I didn't buy it at that time. I didn't buy the DVD there.
Yeah.
Because I kind of made a prejudgment. Okay, it's not entirely about the Rake, so it might be one of those movies where they use the tapestry for the Rake, but it's not exactly about him. It's about something completely different. Biggest mistake one of the biggest mistakes I've made. I should have picked that movie up because I watched it last night. It is, like I told Tom before this episode, it was a palate cleanser from the lackluster parts of the Slender Man movie from Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And the execution, oh my god, I was gushing on Discord about this. My girlfriend has a Discord server and she has a little channel to talk about movies. And I was just gushing over this movie. No spoilers, obviously, but practical monster effects.
Ooh, interesting.
There might have been a little bit of CGI in there, but if there was CGI, they hit it really well. It was... Oh my god! And people here are seeing me freak out, but this... I'm probably singing these praises a bit too high. Maybe it's me overreacting, but this movie was good. This was a good creepypasta movie.
Cool.
They handled the Rake properly. I liked what they did with the Rake.
Cool. When was it made?
I did not catch the year, actually.
Okay.
Fortunately. It might have been made here recently. I didn't look on the back of the case there at Days of the Dead, and I didn't look at the date when I was reading it. Podcast correction, I'll edit that in later. But I feel like it was made around... I don't know. I got a vibe of 2015 from it or something. So it was definitely in the 2010s. It was definitely in the 2010s.
I was gonna say because we talked about this when we talked about the Slender movie. It came out. The most recent one came out past the time that creepypastas, especially Slender Man, were in its peak of popularity.
Well, I still believe that. I still believe that any Slenderman movie made recently is fighting against that.
Yeah.
But I think the thing with The Rake is that it didn't ascend to the popularity that Slenderman did.
Yeah, it was actually that just came to my mind. I was gonna say is like because I'd never heard of The Rake. I'm familiar with creepypastas like Squidward's Suicide, Laughing Jack, and Slenderman, but I never heard of The Rake. So I guess it does kind of work. So as a standalone movie.
Yeah, even if the heyday for creepypastas is gone with having recognizable monsters, this film didn't have to fight. Well, it had to fight against it for me because I've seen so much of The Rake and read so many of the stories and heard a lot of the stories.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good. It's good, man. Okay, the first 12 minutes, kind of hit or miss there. Kind of hit or miss.
Uh-huh.
But the ending of those 12 minutes,
mm-hmm.
I like. I really, really like.
Cool. I know you want to go on for another half hour, but according to Von Istner,
yes, if I'm gonna get this movie on DVD, that's gonna be the October episode. I'm so pumped about this. Oh my god.
Yeah, and he may sound like he's nerded out for those listening, but for those watching on the YouTube channel, if you can't see his body, if you haven't been able to tell, is from his afflictions. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, Dylan. Before you go on for another half hour, we have a time limit.
We'll do a special in October. I'm getting a lot of ideas for October.
Yeah.
A special between what Sony Slenderman did and what this Rake movie did.
Exactly. So the other movie you saw was this one right here.
Well, not necessarily a movie. I actually just went, although this is just a little prop for what I've been doing.
Okay.
I've been going back and watching Ed, Edd n Eddy recently.
Yeah.
Love this cartoon as a kid. I love it to this day because it still holds up pretty well.
I wasn't into it as a kid, but past like 10 years, I've started to appreciate it. I was like, wow, this is good. This is funny. So
it's sometimes very dry humor, very quotable lines, a lovable cast of characters, and the music. The theme song.
That whistle's not good today, but yeah. Ed, Edd n Eddy.
But that's what I loved about this movie, about this cartoon. I'm recognizing all the things that made it stand out to me as a kid.
Right.
The animation, because a fun fact about the animation that people, for those who don't know, the reason that the outlines are so squiggly is because Danny Antonucci wanted to replicate the flaws and the jitteriness of old cartoon animation, like from the 1920s.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it was all the music is jazz. It's just improvised jazz. I'm gonna gush over this cartoon because I love it.
Yeah.
It's like Eddie is a literal scumbag, but they write him in such a way that I want to see what he does every episode.
Yeah, and that's the whole comedy of the show. It's like they try to scam kids out of their money, and then the show's about their consequences.
Exactly.
That's what makes it funny.
And they did the greatest strength of this episode of this show is that they did an entire episode where the Eds weren't on screen until the last few seconds, and it worked. It was just working with the other kids in the cul-de-sac, and it works. The Eds didn't get a lick of consequence for their actions, but it was still entertaining.
Yeah, as said, I didn't get into the show as a kid, but as the past 10 years, I've grown to really appreciate it. So
definitely.
But
and Ed and Eddie is how you end a cartoon.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I've seen reviews of that. So
if you haven't seen Ed and Eddie, the Big Picture Show, and you're a fan, do it. Yeah. That is general consensus for that is how you end a cartoon show.
Right. Okay. So moving on. So what I saw this week. So like I said earlier, I did not sleep this on Tuesday night through Wednesday, so for some reason, and so I had some downtime to watch a couple of movies. So the first thing I watched, I don't know if I talked about this to you yet. It's not we didn't write it down here, but I watched a couple episodes of the documentary series on Netflix called "The Toys That Made Us." So,
I misread your message about that. I thought you were talking about the toys from Jimmy Neutron in the Skype message. That's why that didn't get put down. Okay.
Yeah, made us. But yeah, so I watched that. The first episode, of course, naturally, is Star Wars. And it opened with a recreation of one of the Kenner employees. The Kenner being the people that made the Star Wars toys. They were based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, at the time. So and they were well known because everybody else turned them down. So, but anyway, it opens with a recreation of the guy walking into the old Industrial Light and Magic place just outside of the airport where it used to be back then when Star Wars was. This was during the production of Star Wars, and then it opens with him. It's just like, oh hey, we just blew up the Death Star. It's gonna be awesome. And the guy's like, what? And then it pans over to the guys working on the Millennium Falcon as it's coming through the hangar of the Death Star. I was just like, ooh, this is awesome. And then the rest is the documentary.
I want to check this out.
Yeah. And then the second episode I saw, it has a number of episodes, but the other episode I saw was Lego. So
nice.
And it talks about how they almost went bankrupt and everything. So
really,
yeah. Surprisingly, during the 2000s, I think the mid to late 2000s, that when they were about to hit bankruptcy. So
was that around the time they really started doing IP box sets? Like your SpongeBob's, your Star Wars.
That was a part of it.
Okay.
Star Wars did help it, but not a whole lot, which is surprising. But then they also talk about both episodes. They talk about the bins, the discount, the clearance bins.
Oh.
Ones that didn't sell. So they referred to it when Phantom Menace came out. George Lucas was not in the Star Wars episode. He denied to be interviewed. So, I will say it felt like it was kind of shitting on George Lucas, which I mean, like, he did give you your jobs,
Yeah.
And he put your toy company on the map. So
in a way, but no, not in a way. He did. Like, Fox foolishly didn't retain the toy rights, and George Lucas became a multi-millionaire overnight.
Yeah.
Well, not overnight, but you get the idea.
Yeah, true.
But what were they saying that was kind of beaten down on Lucas?
Well, it's like when Phantom Menace came out, they didn't have a script, or when they were making the toys for it. It's like, I made several Jar Jar Binks characters, or toys, like the like well, we know about the toys.
Misa didn't sell.
Yeah. So, and this guy who has like the biggest collection of Star Wars toys said is like, there's some things that are worth a lot. There's some things not so much, like the Jar Jar toys. So,
well,
it's unfortunate, but it's just like, I mean, like, come on, like, lighten up a little bit. So, he still gave you your jobs. So, but anyway, so moving on. So, I saw. Same day, we watched the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius movie.
From here to the stars, my candy bars with a knack.
Okay, yes.
I remember it in my head. I'm just not remembering the lyrics.
The song is so good, but yeah, this came out in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I rewatched it, and actually,
what you gonna do, man? He's getting something.
I wrote notes while I was watching it.
Good job.
So, I have notes in front of me. Okay, so, Rob Paulson as Carl.
Rob Paulson is just a treat, man.
Yeah, it's just like, he spans so many generations. I had no idea who played him until just a few years ago. So, Patrick Stewart is the villain.
The Okian.
Yeah, it's like,
the Okian King.
Yeah.
Who played his ward, his sidekick in that?
Martin Short.
Nice.
Yeah, Martin Short.
Yes, it was. Did you watch the behind the scenes featurette on this thing?
I did. I remember. I think I remember when that came out back in the day, in 2001. Like I think it was either before the movie came out or before the show started. Yeah, I watched it. I was like, wow, I hadn't seen that in a long time. Which Bob Gore and Mary Hart, the ABC News people. They were the egg and yolk news people. So,
which is a proud honor indeed, and very painful.
Very painful. Oh, that's great. There's another. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of go. I didn't really organize these notes.
It's all good.
Okay. So one joke that I just really laughed hard at is when, in the beginning, Jimmy's like, crashing through all the houses, and he just crashes on the roof, and then he looks out his parents look out the window and they see bricks falling off, and Hugh looks up and is like, "Oh, what do you know? The chimney fell off again." I was just like,
that's a common occurrence.
I was just like, I just love how dry he says that.
A lot of the comedy in that movie is you got to really appreciate how dry it is.
Yeah, and I'll get to how the movie holds up, but there's other things. Sheen is still a favorite character in the show, the Jimmy Neutron show,
and not in his own show.
Girl eating plant. How do you think that would hold up if this movie came out today? How do you think people would react to that? Well, maybe we shouldn't really talk about that because we kind of have to go into the political aspect, and we don't do that here on the round table.
I never thought that was political. I just thought.
Well, I mean, I'm saying if that were to come out today, would people
apply a political meaning to it?
Yeah. So the CGI surprisingly holds up. There are some parts like the Yokians, like when they explode or they get knocked down or something, it's like, okay, it kind of works because it's kind of supposed to look gooey. But when like Jimmy Neutron's like using Goddard as like a fire extinguisher, it's like, oh wow, that looks really dated.
The biggest point of comparison for this movie would be, a lot of people point to, is the comparisons between it and Toy Story in the terms of graphical quality.
Yeah, although I have to say, is like it was all done on a computer, and they did it in software that cost very little, even back then. Which even so, and I think the budget for the film was around $23 million in 2001. So. So it's interesting. So if we double that for marketing, or if it had any, so we can probably obviously tell like most of the budget probably went to Patrick Stewart and Martin Short to getting them to do that.
Definitely.
Because they obviously didn't have, because when they brought them back for the show, they obviously didn't have the money to do that. So unfortunately, but
dang it. No, you're right. They didn't.
Yeah, but
well, to my childhood mind, they sounded pretty close. But
Ooplar didn't.
Yeah. But there's something interesting to talk about, especially for the marketing for this movie. I had a VHS for a couple of Rugrats episodes, and it had a trailer for the Jimmy Neutron movie. But it was back with the other design, the first design that they had for him, outside of a tech demo from years ago in the 90s.
The Runaway Rocket Boy.
Yep.
The original pilot.
Yep, but they had him in the red and white striped
shirt. Yeah.
I want to know where all that went. I know, obviously, it got scrapped.
Well, that actually went on to the shorts that's on this DVD. So I guess you probably don't remember. There were like little animated shorts they would play between, like they play during the commercial breaks of Jimmy Neutron. So I remember watching those back in the day, and I remember watching them on the JimmyNeutron.com, which I don't even know if that still exists anymore. So we'll find out soon, but
definitely.
But it's like wow, I hadn't seen that stuff in a long time.
I never saw that.
There was another. There was like a cliffhanger series, or like serials, I guess you could call them, like Calling All Aliens.
I do remember that. I have this DVD over on my shelf. I watched that when I was a kid.
I think I have some memory of it, but I don't remember watching it back then.
Well, Jimmy, we sure did make contact with aliens, but we sure did make contact with Mr. and Mr. Estevez.
I don't think I don't think that's what he said, but
probably the name's wrong, but
yeah, because Estevez is Sheen.
Ah, damn it!
Okay, but before I get to my last bit of notes here, Nick and Jimmy are the only actors are the only boy characters voiced by females. Because, Jimmy Neutron is voiced by the great Debbie Dearyberry.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick was voiced by Candy Milo.
Candy Milo.
Yeah.
Nick, cool kid Nick?
Yeah. Oh my, am I?
Didn't he play? Didn't they also play? Wasn't Nick's voice actor also played Sasuke in Naruto?
Maybe, I don't know. So there's other things.
That voice sounds familiar.
So they go to Yoki and Coruscant. I mean, look at it. It's Coruscant. I find it hard to believe that this is a coincidence. Like, it came out 2 years after The Phantom Menace and 6 months before Attack of the Clones. Because it came out December 2001.
The truth is out there.
Yeah.
Do-do-do, do-do-do.
The Chicken Dance.
That's funnier to me because I remember shortly after seeing that movie, it was a grandparents' day. That part I still laugh at because days after seeing that movie, there was a grandparents' day at school. So my grandparents came in. We all got in a circle and did the chicken dance.
Yeah.
Grandparents included.
I remember that going on in like music class in elementary school and at the skating rink. Those were So
they're making our parents dance so lame.
No, my dad really dances like that. Okay. Oh, Sheen's doing the Vulcan symbol or the Vulcan salute or whatever is many times in the show. Definitely. And in the movie. So it's clearly it knows where it's inspired from.
Definitely.
Okay, so I guess my last point is the music is awful. The pop songs have not aged well. Like, does anybody remember Aaron Carter?
Leave it up to me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a music connoisseur right now, so obviously I wouldn't remember.
Yeah, that's the only song I remember him from. I remember back in the day, it's obviously the songs in the movie, but I remember at the end of the VHS tape, that music video would be on there.
Oh, yeah. If you want to talk about dated CGI.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, he turns into like an animated CG character from Sim City.
Leave it up to me.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, the whole museum's going to explode if he doesn't hit a button.
Yeah. There's other things.
But I'm pretty sure everyone remembers Bowling for Soup.
Yeah, that's
their cover of that theme song.
That's dated. The only, and like when they go to Yoki and Coruscant, it's like they play this like pop song that shows all these establishing shots of Coruscant.
I don't even know what the name of that song is.
Yeah, it's just like, why are they playing this there? Why? Because like there's occasion where it does have a musical score, an instrumental, and it's actually pretty good. So, but it's just like, why isn't there more of that? So, like at least when they're on the other planet, it was like that would be pretty. That'd be cool. Hear all this grand instrumental stuff. It's just seeing this weird planet unfold you. And then we've got the beat during the fight scene on the alien planet. Yeah. Kids, walking down the street. Yeah. The only song that and the kids in America. We're the kids in America. Yeah. The only song that holds up is that Ramones song. Let's go. The Blitzkrieg Bop. Yeah. Coincidentally, one of the only few Ramones songs that any kids movie will use. Yeah. And I think Spider-Man: Homecoming had a hand in keeping it alive. If you remember, it's on that. Yeah. Yep. Well, it's kind of hard to use other songs when you actually listen to the lyrics. Yeah. And I'm surprised that people haven't listened to the lyrics of Blitzkrieg Bop. Yeah. It's in the freaking name. Yeah. The bumping in the back streets. Shoot him in the back now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the thing is like at least for me, whenever I hear songs, most songs nowadays, I cannot understand what they're saying. But it sounds kind of catchy. Well, that was the lifeblood of their music, of their whole career. Yeah. But it also had to deal with Joe, how he would sing, the bumping in the backseat, generating Steve hate.
Should I'm in your back now. I'm probably doing a disservice to his vocal talent, but he definitely had that going on in his voice.
Yeah. So that's basically all the notes I have. So the movie, from my final thoughts, I'll just say, for me ranting on too long, it held up surprisingly well. So, but when the songs came on, it's just like, wow, that just dated the hell out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I will admit, even though I do remember a lot of the songs, except for the one during the establishing shots on the Yokian planet, I do remember because I have been purposely listening to a lot of music from the 2000s. Like You're Bowling for Soups. Well, surprisingly, I haven't listened to a lot of Aaron Carter outside of Leave It Up.
He was the Justin Bieber of the 90s and early 2000s. I just for shits and giggles, I looked him up. It's like, is this guy still around? And I looked him up, and it's like, so it's not no drugs, a little pot, but
his boyish charm is definitely gone.
Yeah,
he's like a lot like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, he's going through like a body dysmorphia and everything, but so I guess he's not as bad as some other child stars, but I hope hope for the best for him. So.
Definitely.
Although the girls singing "We're the Kids in America" is like, it says they're like 13 in the music video. They're like 13, 14, 16, whatever. They all look like they're in their 20s. At least to me. So.
Damn. That wasn't the only time that version of the song was in there. They had it. There was a music video at the end of the Digimon movie VHS tape, and it was "We're the Kids in America." Though granted, that movie there was a cluster where they put a whole bunch of pop songs from the time in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole other discussion. I could talk about that.
Yeah. So it's weird. So the songs do date the movie, but.
I think it still holds up.
The story, everything, it still holds up. I was still enjoying myself. I was still laughing, still feeling things and everything. So, but okay. So I guess I think we've gone on long enough. So
orbiting around Jimmy's head, estimated to ear 7 minutes.
Great. So I actually didn't watch Deadpool 2. I got this yesterday. I didn't have time to watch it.
Well, I just assumed because you brought it in.
Yeah, well, I just brought it just for shits and giggles.
I was tempted to get that the other day.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on another episode. So.
Yep.
Okay, so with that, let's move on to our next topic: sequels.
Where the rest of the money from the movie is made.
Yes. God knows we will meet again in Spaceballs 2. The search for more money.
Yeah.
That was a terrible accent.
Who can do Mel Brooks, anyways?
True.
Those, I couldn't. I'm not going to even attempt to do that.
Yeah. So.
But sequels, the extension, the literal extension of an original film.
Yeah.
Going further with our characters.
Or not.
Or just doing something completely different.
Or just doing the exact same thing.
A la Grease 2.
Ghostbusters 2.
What's that?
Smokey and the Bandit 2.
I've never seen Smokey and the Bandit 2.
Neither have I.
I'm trying to think of it. No. I can't think of anything.
Yeah, made the Matrix sequels. Actually, I was talking with my girlfriend. She asked like, what movie sequels didn't need to happen or should be made, but then I was like, I couldn't really think of one past Incredibles 2. So I just told her movies sequels that shouldn't have been made.
Should have been.
So, I wish I could remember here. I'm gonna tell you what.
That shouldn't have been made.
Shouldn't have been made.
I don't know.
I'm from Son of the Mask.
Yes.
Blues Brothers 2000.
Yes.
Speed 2.
I haven't seen any of the Speed movies, so I don't know.
The first one has, although the second one does have Willem Dafoe, so that might make it worthwhile. The first one has
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
I know
he
that.
turned down I think it was a multi-million-dollar offer, but then they wouldn't do it. Rocky 5.
Some of the Rocky movies.
Yeah. Grease 2.
Yeah. Grease 2. I said that because Even my parents who adore the first Grease movie, even if the movie isn't technically really good, a lot of people like Grease because of it allows them to go back in time for a while.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
And the recent Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Wait, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
The prequel.
Oh my God. Indiana Jones, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I will debate that.
Yeah.
I will debate that.
I'm not going to say I know the Defender is a good movie, but I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it is.
Like, there's a lot of... That's a whole discussion for another time.
Jason X.
I'm a fan of the Friday the 13th movies. I think Part 9. For me, for Friday the 13th, Part 9 was actually doing something kind of interesting. But I would say it's a toss-up between... it's not a toss-up. I think 5 is the one where I'm kind of on the fence about.
Right. A very Brady sequel.
I've never seen the Brady movies.
Neither have I. I've heard the first one's clever. Very clever in what it has a level of self-awareness to it, but I don't know. I haven't seen it. The Blair Witch sequel and the Blair Witch reboot or remake, whichever one it is, we haven't seen it. Or at least I haven't.
Yeah.
What else do we have here?
I've
heard... okay, he's looking. The Mummy sequels.
I'll admit the third one's pretty good.
Haven't seen the third one. I like the first one. Haven't seen the second one. Haven't seen the third one. Blair Witch again. Son of the Mask again. I'm going through different websites. For those who Legally Blonde too.
I thought of a movie. I just thought of something. I found one. I found a sequel that does what the original did, but it's still good.
What is it?
Airplane 2.
Oh yeah.
It's the same movie as the first one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of aware of that, and it does some jokes, changes it up here or there, but it's the same movie.
Right.
And I still love it.
Right. Okay, so let me go through Jaws: The Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, really any of the Jaws movies.
Trying to think, I've got...
X-Men: The Last Stand.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Batman and Robin. Sex and the City 2.
I never watched any of that. I'm trying to think.
The Whole 10 Yards. Terminator 3.
It should have ended with 2.
Yeah. Over Part 3.
I've never seen it. I've only seen parts of the first one.
I've seen the first one. It's funny, but okay. There's one critic. I can't remember his name. He said the first one is like two dogs fucking in the streets. Like you pass by it, it's like, oh my god, those dogs are fucking in the streets. And then the second one is like, wow, they're still fucking in the streets. Wow. And then the second one's like, oh, there's those dogs again. So, or the third one's like that. So, okay.
I think a sequel that we could have gone out with. I've got both 2 packs of all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, along with Wes Craven's new Nightmare on Freddy vs. Jason. I think out of all these movies, I think Freddy's Dead should have never happened.
Yep.
I feel like a movie earlier should have been the end, because he's been killed off so many times. Like the first 4, I'm interested. I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Though 4 is kind of a bit of a weird one for me because it kills off a lot of the favorite characters from 3. But it's a Freddy movie, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Dream Child was weird. Again, like a lot of these movies, they kill him off at the end. But I think Freddy's Dead was the one where it's like, okay, this has some creative kills, but what is this?
Yeah.
Now, Wes Craven's new Nightmare, that is a good sequel, my man.
So, but let's kind of shift into a little bit. I have a list here pulled up of sequels that should be or should have been made.
Mm-hmm.
Like a sequel to 7 called 8. So apparently it says here, so it says an idea that was tossed around, Morgan Freeman, tired detective developing psychic abilities and dealing with another mass murderer. There's also a concept of having Somerset, Brad Pitt's character, Spring Mills from his imprisonment, 48-hour style. to solve another Bible-related crime spree. Though it says David Fincher has made it clear that he'd rather have knives driven into his eyes than contemplate a sequel. So, well, I mean,
that's one way to say keep the original as is.
Yeah, I know, whatever. Go ahead.
I just thought of the sequels that probably shouldn't have happened. Everything after Halloween 3.
Yeah.
Now, Halloween H2O, I'll give it that.
Haven't seen it.
Resurrection,
Well, I wouldn't mind if they probably shouldn't have called it Halloween 3. They probably should have just done it another way.
Yeah.
Called it something else, but I understand why they did it, so.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Vega brothers.
The Vega brothers?
Yeah, would have been a prequel to Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. You have Vincent Vega, John Travolta's character, and Vic Vega, Michael Madsen's character in Reservoir Dogs. They're actually brothers.
Okay.
And the Tarantino verse, there's always these kind of little connections. Like, most notably, in True Romance, there's Lee Donowitz, and he's supposedly the son of Donnie Donowitz, the Bear Jew in Inglourious Bastards. So,
which movie was it where Kill Bill was a movie in that movie? Like, there's some Tarantino movie out there where Kill Bill is an actual movie in that movie's setting.
I don't know.
If that's not correct, that's a
podcast. But anyway, and in The Hateful Eight, it's supposedly one of them is related to, like, Tim Roth's character is either related to Michael Fassbender's character in Inglourious Bastards or B.J. Novak's character in Inglourious Bastards.
Nice.
So, like, the grandfather, cousin, uncle, whatever.
Tarantino, write a book explaining all of your movie's connections.
Oh, he never will. Like, he misspelled bastards. Like, he put an E instead of an A.
I never noticed that till now.
Yeah. Huh. This other list on Popmaster says, I'll leave a link in the description, The Big Trouble in Little China sequel.
I've never seen that.
Neither have I.
All the Leprechaun sequels.
True Lies 2.
There was a sequel?
No. That's something that should be made, or should have been made.
I don't know. I feel like the first one was good for what it was.
Yeah. The Goonies 2.
Yeah. I think that's one of those. Here's the big thing about sequels. Here's a prime example of why I feel like there shouldn't be a Goonies 2. When Tim Burton was approached by Disney to do a computer animated sequel to Nightmare Before Christmas, he fought against it and turned him down and fought against it and lobbied to have it never happen because he felt like the original movie had a charm to it that would be lost if there were sequels of Jack going all to the other town.
It's kind of like Back to the Future 4, which we'll talk about in a sec. But we'll talk about that in a sec. Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yes.
I actually really like
Freddy versus Jason was a bit lackluster in places, but when they actually fought, it was awesome. I want to see them. Bruce Campbell's still around. Do it.
Yeah, they did. They did an Ash series on Netflix. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a comic.
Yeah.
There's a comic that they could take inspiration from.
Yeah.
And the comic is so. I haven't read it, but I've read about what happens in it. It is so out there. Freddy becomes the president of the U.S. and then instructs a policy of no child left alive.
Oh, God.
I want to read this.
Yeah. So, anyway, back to this list. Who Framed Roger Rabbit to Toon Portal?
They actually tried doing something like that.
Yeah.
It was actually going to be CGI animated.
Yeah.
A live-action CGI hybrid.
Oh, yeah, because Zemeckis was doing that. He had that production company.
Yep.
But then it shut down after Mars Needs Moms. Mars Needs Moms, yeah.
I forgot that existed.
Yeah. Everybody did, thankfully. Sin City 2, which did happen. This list is a bit old.
Definitely.
So, I haven't seen that.
A damn too far.
Unbreakable 2, which is the one coming out a prequel or a sequel?
Wow.
Wasn't it called Glass?
Yes, Glass.
Okay. Is it a sequel or a prequel?
I don't know. It feels like a weird crossover because remember at the end of Split how they mentioned that he was sent to jail, and then there's Bruce Willis's character right there giving his name.
Yeah.
I need to watch Unbreakable again.
Me too. Yeah. So interesting.
But
I guess it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay. So Unbreakable 2. So it's gonna happen. So I've never heard of this. Buckaroo Banzai against the
Buckaroo Banzai?
Yeah. Against World Crime League.
I love Buckaroo Banzai.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's got Jeff Goldblum in it, and he's dressed up as a cowboy. And it's a group of guys that fight against these aliens that have assumed the identities of people. But you have to look at them right to see their true form, and they're trying to take over the world. It is the most cheesiest thing I've ever seen.
Huh. Alright then. Okay, but
like, I don't know where Jeff Goldblum just gets dressed up in a cowboy outfit. Like Back to the Future 3 type of cowboy outfit. Very colorful.
Interesting. Okay. But you get the point. So, sequels that shouldn't have been made and should be made. So, I guess our discussion is like, when the sequels work, when do you do them, how do you not do them?
Like, the general rule of thumb most people point to, do you have another story to tell with these characters? Or do you have another story to tell with these characters? Do you have another story to tell in this universe? Or is there something unresolved that the first movie didn't do, but it's good enough to warrant an entire film? Because let's take Toy Story 3. I think you and I could agree that Toy Story 2, if it had been that, with that ending, with Woody accepting that that day is going to come, but he's okay with that. If Toy Story had ended there, we would have been happy. Well, I kind of would have been happy. What do you think?
I mean, I would have been happy, but I remember over the years, but between that coming out, those two coming out, I was being like, why isn't there a third one? I'd actually, be interested in seeing that. And then, what was that, 2007?
That it got confirmed?
Or I thought that's when it came out.
No, it came in around 2010, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Because
right.
it was roughly 10 or 11 years since the second one.
You're right. But yeah, I remember seeing that, but I was like, but I get what your point. Yeah, I would have been fine to see that, and I do not want to see a fourth one that they're apparently making.
I would love to see this fourth one if it came before Toy Story 3, Yeah. Because Toy Story 3, in my opinion, perfect ending. Not just thematically, but visually.
Yeah.
We end on the puffy clouds that we saw from the very beginning.
Yep.
That image still brings a tear to my eye.
Yep.
Because it's like, that is beautiful. But Toy Story 3 can work because the second movie ends with Woody basically saying, okay, I'm happy. I'm going to enjoy the time that I have. But then there's that one question. What happens when that day finally comes? And that's what Toy Story 3 answers, and I think helps prop that whole movie up.
But what can a fourth one do? It's just like...
They're going to address Bo Peep. Yeah. That's what I've heard. They're going to go out and find Bo Peep.
You see what I mean? Like, I don't want to see this. I don't want it. Nobody asked for it. Like, everybody, like, okay, Pixar sequels, they should be made. Incredibles 2, we finally got it.
Yes.
It was great. Inside Out sequel, that'd be good. Monsters Inc. sequel, not a prequel.
A sequel, please.
Yeah. There's others. Okay. The Cars sequels.
I would have been happy if we just got Cars 3 as the sequel.
Yeah. Cars 3 was pretty good. It was like, I remember we saw it at the drive-in. You invited me with you and your girlfriend, and I was like, yeah, okay, that was pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
If we could pretend the Cars 2 didn't happen.
Yeah, but even Cars 2 wasn't awful.
It wasn't awful, but it kind of suffers from what Planet Sheen had.
Yeah.
You put the comic relief as the focus of the story.
Exactly. So,
for how recycled the plot for Cars 1 was, we were at least following we were following a character who needed to learn something.
Yeah.
Even though that lesson's been learned by numerous characters.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was something there.
Yeah. There's other stuff. Okay, but you get the point. So,
there has to be a good enough reason for a sequel to exist.
Yeah. So, let's talk about when to not do a sequel.
When you... Blair Witch Project 2.
Yeah. Well, they didn't wait for the original people, to give their consent or to come back to do it. So then they just went ahead and did it without them.
And
I don't know what the new film did, but I don't really care. I'm not going to see it.
So we won't talk about the new film, but Blair Witch Project 2, it's like they try to... I don't know. I think... For some reason, I get the idea that they tried to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to piggyback off the in some fashion or shape. Sequels are kind of piggybacking off the success of the first one because they're hoping that because sequels predicate themselves on the fact that you enjoyed the first one and you want to see more.
Right.
So with Blair Witch Project 2, it felt like they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. Oh, we're in the same universe as this movie, but we're gonna treat the movie as an actual movie. So this actually, they I don't know. They tried to be. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the words and I'm spitting everywhere.
You're good.
But I think the issue with 2 is that it became sterile.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with the charm of the first one is the fact that it was very low budget. It wasn't really high end cameras that they were using.
Yeah, it was like a $5 million budget, but you can tell it was spent more on marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it was basically, it felt real. That was the whole. Yeah. That's the whole purpose of found footage, lost footage. It feels real, like this could actually be happening.
Yeah,
and a lot of I'm like, this is an issue with a lot of found footage movies, and especially with Blair Witch Project 2. It became too sterile. It's very detached from reality.
Yeah, exactly. So, but and also when you shouldn't do it is when there's nothing left to do,
or you're just
like we said, Toy Story 4, or a better example, Back to the Future 4. So, which that's kind of been, it's not really talked about anymore, but it's back in, we talked about this before, Dylan and I in the late 2000s, when the internet started or YouTube started to become popular, there was, all this, circling rumors of there doing a fourth movie, of who would be in it and whatever.
Who would be directing.
Yeah. So, I think it's pretty universal. Back to the Future 4 should not happen, and...
No.
Sorry. But even then, with the reboots and remakes becoming more and more a Hollywood thing,
mm-hmm.
they're saying, well, they might do that or whatever. There hasn't been a lot of stuff coming out about that. It's just that every once in a while an article will pop up on the internet here and there. But
we might as well call this thing sequels and remakes as well.
Yeah, but it's okay, so Back to the Future 4. Okay, nobody wants to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't know. They say people keep asking for more. I don't want to see more. I was like, the first film is my definition of a perfect movie. Mm-hmm. The Back to the Future, Goodfellas, those are two films I consider perfect movies. And so, I have problems with the sequels, but that's a pretty consistent trilogy.
They for all the reasons that 2 and 3 probably shouldn't have existed, I'm kind of glad that they existed.
Yeah.
For what we got, I'm glad that those sequels existed, and the third one, especially with how it capped off everything, Marty's got his life in order now, and Doc's happy.
Yeah.
I think that's the bow on top of everything.
Then they came out with the Telltale video game, which was so-so.
Yeah, it was so-so in the gameplay department because my brother I actually sat and watched my brother try to play it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and this is a podcast about stories, but long story short, the controls are a bit iffy.
Yeah, I haven't played in a long time, but
Oh shoot! Can we take a quick break, man?
Sure, go ahead.
Hello. I'm doing fine, man. I'm actually in the middle of something real quick. Could you give me a call back in maybe about 30 minutes? I will. Don't worry. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'll keep my eyes on it. I'm just in the middle of something with a friend. We're recording something right now. Nice. Well, have fun, man. Bye. Got a music gig, and they were just telling me that they were going to make a big announcement on Facebook.
Cool.
Gotcha.
All right.
Back to what we were saying.
So, Back to the Future 4. I would not want to see it.
As a kid, I wanted it, but
Yeah.
as an adult, and looking into films as much as I do.
But I'm actually going to say I would actually prefer if they were going to do something more with Back to the Future on the big screen. I would actually prefer a remake.
Because
Because what I was saying is because it's like Zemeckis has this thing in. As long as he's alive, they're not gonna. Universal's not gonna touch it, so they're not gonna do it. So hopefully we have it. He's in his late 60s, so hopefully we have at least another 20 years before he leaves this earth. So or at most 20 years before that happens. But I would. So, but even then, when his time comes, it's like, would it even be possible to do a sequel? So it's like, because it's like, Chris Lloyd is in his 70s. Is he even going to be around when Zemeckis goes? Chances are not. So, and Michael J. Fox, he's got Parkinson's, and if there's a breakthrough, maybe, granted, he is still working and acting.
Sorry, my scanner's telling me something.
It's probably doing an alignment. Oh.
It was just turning it off.
Okay. Anyway. So, but yeah, and all the other actors, is like, 20 years, it's like, so a sequel probably wouldn't be possible. It'd be like doing Ghostbusters 3, which that's a whole other topic.
About Harold Ramis, what's the point?
Yeah, it's not even possible. But
we still have Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Ernie Hudson, and not to discredit their work on the first two movies, but when you lose that big part of the machine that made it work, you're like, what's the point? We have these three guys, but it's not complete without Harold Ramis. And we'd say the same if Dan Aykroyd or Bill Murray or Ernie Hudson weren't around anymore.
Yeah, but even still, it's like, without that. So if something else was to be done with Back to the Future, if they did a remake, if they did something totally different, took it in with a new direction, they don't repeat the same stuff, even if it's terrible, even if it's awful, I'd actually be probably a little more forgiving if they did that, rather than just doing a sequel or just doing the same thing.
Because at the end of the day, we still have the originals.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the big thing to remember when you're talking about sequels and reboots. You always still have the original.
Yeah.
Like, you always have the option to pretend everything afterwards didn't exist.
Yeah, it's like when the Star Wars prequels came out, or even now the sequels, because the hate for the prequels is kind of leveled out since the new films have come out.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, just like, so it's like, come on, like, they didn't ruin your childhood. Just get over it. So
your childhood still existed.
Yeah. So that just always bothers me. So without this going on for too long, because we have one more topic to do.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you have a good idea, then go for it. But if you don't, or you don't think you can do it well, or if you're just doing it to make money, that's a big thing. Don't do it. Or if you are doing it to make money, make it good.
Yeah. Because you can't discredit somebody trying to make themselves some money, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is the bottom line, and that's money.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you should always, I'm gonna make money, but I'm gonna make something damn good.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess if we have nothing else to say, let's move on to our second to last topic.
I want a sequel to The Room.
Yes. Anyway, let's move on to our last topic: failures in filmmaking.
Failures in filmmaking.
So I guess this will be a kind of a story time for both of us. So I guess I'll kind of start off. So what failures? And why? It's important that we talk about these. Why we talk about failures in filmmaking, because we learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we said last week, just getting up and doing it. So
get started.
Do it. So yeah, we did that, and so I guess to talk about our personal failures as filmmakers. So there was a short film that I wanted to do about 4 or 5 years ago. It was called Nothing Personal. And it was it's still kind of like it's on the bulletin board right now, so I'll come back to it at some point in the future when I feel there's a good idea about it. Although actually now it's probably going to be a series. So but that's a few years down the line. So but we'll see. So anyway, I wanted to do this. Really wanted to do this film. I put a lot of work, put a lot of effort into it, pre-production, and everything. And then I decided and I was getting actors and everything. And then I decided to push the start date, to bring the start date to shoot forward.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like the second or third week of June of that summer, it was going to be the first week of June. So, or maybe second, I can't remember. That was a long time ago, but and then things were just really coming apart. Like I was just giving myself so little time to prepare and everything, and I'm just like, so. And then at the last minute, this guy, you know him, who he is. I won't mention his name. He dropped the bomb on me that he can't do it because it's just like he's starting a new job. His best friend's moving in with him and everything, so he's not going to be able to make it. So and I did a short film about this, Passion Never Stops. So it kind of goes into that. So which I will also talk about. So and it's like so and then I was really depressed and talked to Ryan. We had a heart to heart and everything, but yeah. So why did it not go through? So mainly because one, I did not have nearly enough time to do it. I didn't give myself enough time to do it. I squeezed in too much. So and even at the time, I kind of realized that this probably wasn't going to happen, but I just was in denial. So yeah, that's the thing. So so what did I do wrong? So like I said, not enough time. Honestly, I didn't think I had that good a script because, like, the reason I'm making it into a series now is like because it's a guy. I don't want to give spoilers, but it's like for the subject material, I didn't think it's like okay, a short film, even a feature film, which I thought about doing, but I'm like okay, I'm not going to be able to do this. So yeah. That's the thing, and then that eventually led to Passion Never Stops. So like as that kind of left, as that Nothing Personal kind of fell apart, I was just kind of got to where I was like, well, I still want to. I had a goal. I get a short film before my 18th birthday. I was 17 at the time, and I was just like, well, I want to do something. I don't want to waste my entire summer, so I did that. So kind of wrote the script, showed it to Ryan and everything. So I was like, okay. So we filmed it. I think it took like 4 days to do. Almost no money. Any money that was just used to eat. So everything. So shot it, released it. And I was just like, yeah, I like that. So I enjoyed it for what it was. And I still think. There's a lot of things I would change about it now, like the cuts and everything, and fix a lot of the sound because there's a lot of white noise and everything. But yeah, so that's the thing. So Dylan, you.
I've got to tell this story again.
Yeah, I was there. So.
Well, yeah. Okay, I don't need to sound down and depressed. I don't need to sound down and depressed.
This is how we learn.
I'm out of college. I've got tons of ideas rattling around in this head of mine. I've got old scripts that I could potentially do. I've always got something that I can do.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to In fact, I've got something I want to throw something your way, but that's after this podcast. But my story of failure with film. We've mentioned several times on here Paperlade, and actually during the test for today's podcast, Tom quoted a line that he had come up with for that film the day of filming.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember it at first until he reminded me.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since that day, and it was pretty hectic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can tell I don't like. You can tell I'm hesitant to talking about this because it came down to what we were doing. We were filming a film that for a film festival I was taking part in college.
Right.
What happened was I written a script. I based it solely off the title, and just the general feel of all of it came from this Genesis song that I like, Paperlade, and that was the name of the title. It was about a group of guys who run this little advertising agency for the local theater. They make all the little promos that you see before the films with people in front saying, "Hey, deal Tuesday" and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just about them and what occurs on one random day out of all days when their lead actress decides to quit out of nowhere.
Right. Exactly.
And they are facing the repercussions. Where the failures kind of started with that film was because when I wrote that script, I didn't give it to enough people to get enough feedback on it. I think that was one of the big issues that started off with this film. I didn't give it to a lot of people for feedback. I think I gave it to at least one or two people in the group that I was with in college.
Right.
And this was actually part of the television department. They had organized their own little film festival.
Yeah.
I was part of that. I gave it to one or two people in there, got the feedback, and then I was setting out to casting. I casted you.
Yep.
Schmidt wasn't in there. He was helping.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other guy's name.
What was that? The one guy who went to your college?
Yes, he was someone who was one of my classmates.
Alex Jordan, our old friend.
Alex Jordan.
And Brandon.
Brandon, yes, Brandon. Always a regular Brandon.
Oh, man, I remember that hilarious outtake. And should I say it?
Do it.
Okay, we're all sitting at the table because we're acting like we're just waiting for auditions or whatever.
Yeah.
We're all looking bored, and out of nowhere, he just goes, "And that's why you should never shove a light bulb up your ass." I was dying. Like, do you still have that footage?
I should still have it.
Okay, we need to post it. You need to post it somewhere.
I've got a whole bunch of dump folders that I've dumped footage on.
Yeah.
Between deleting stuff for big projects, but I should have it somewhere. I will check on both on here and on my laptop.
Good. I was like, oh god, I just died. Like I was physically hurting. Like, oh.
But thank you. That was a nice pick me up because here come the rest of the failures.
Yep.
There was basically enough time. The movie I had written was going to take a while to film compared to everyone else.
Well, part of that, one of the actors could not perform optimally.
That was an issue.
Yeah.
I think that also plays into the fact that I did send the script out to you guys, right?
I'm pretty.
Or did you get it the day of?
No, I'm pretty sure you sent it to me back in the day. I mean, this is a couple of years ago, so I can't really remember. But I'm pretty sure you did. I'm on the fence about putting that one on me because he wasn't able to remember the lines, and I'm trying to figure out is that because I didn't send it to him, or is that because I gave it to you guys on the day of? Well, you may not have given it to him, but I can't say. But that's
well, then we actually replaced him. Oh no, we didn't. Did we? Yes.
Yeah, we did.
With my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but we didn't have enough time to film his stuff.
Yeah.
Because Brandon, he had to go to work.
Yeah, and you had to go somewhere as well.
No, I didn't.
Well, you didn't?
No, remember after that we all went to me, that other guy, I can't remember his name,
my brother and my dad.
We all went to Mexican, and then we saw the first Deadpool movie.
Yes, we did. That was a wonderful evening.
Mm-hmm. No, I took off for that day. So
I think there was a lot of. I had the setting. We had
a TV studio in high school.
I want to say that there was a lot of pre-planning that I didn't do. I think one of the things that I should have done is I did script that all out, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I scripted it all out. I remember there being shot. I do remember doing the shot sheets, but I'm trying to remember what was going wrong.
I think it was
that's not me being what could have possibly gone wrong with this film.
I think it started with that one guy. He couldn't get his lines, and that because I remember we spent quite a bit of time like.
And then there was a whole time of just trying to get that because remember Schmidt had suggested that fog to give us that cinematic quality.
Yeah, he had like fog in a can, but we were all like talking about like would that set off the fire alarms because the fire alarms measured the like particles.
Yeah, and then it would go off. It detected a certain amount of particles in the air.
Yeah, which it happened once. I remember not in FCTV, but in the auditorium. I remember I was doing not the Peter Pan. Into the Woods.
Into the Woods.
Yeah, it's a musical. I was doing that whole show, and then the fire alarms go off, but there was nothing going on. So we had to evacuate the building for a short time. I don't know what had happened, but anyway. But back to what we were saying.
Yeah, we had a whole debate about like I don't want us to get kicked out, man. We're getting in here because of we actually and
you asked.
I asked Mr. Corliss, the auditorium director, to allow us to get in there.
Well, didn't you ask the principal, Mr. Warwood?
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And we they weren't. She wasn't able to get. She wasn't able to let us in personally, so we had to go to Mr. Corliss.
Of course, right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. We had permission. We went in there. There was a whole debate about whether we could use those canisters, and then we just kind of went with it. And
nothing happened. But it didn't. Nothing. But the spray didn't really do anything.
Well, it was one of those things where it was really a subtle difference kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you couldn't really tell unless you were really looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the problem with the guy not being able to memorize his lines because we did several takes on that.
Yeah.
And things kind of eased up when we got to doing our parts.
Yeah.
And God,
it was a rough day. But I thought it was a lot of fun.
Don't kid me. Like, it was fun filming with you guys. I love filming with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't done, so far in my life, I haven't done a proper short film of any capacity. And that's the one thing that I keep kicking myself about.
Yeah.
Not like to the detriment of, I'm not going to do anything because apparently that it didn't work out last time. No, I want to do something. I just got...
Yeah.
I like... And this is kind of a fancy excuse. I've got too many ideas. I just need to pick an idea and commit because...
Yeah.
That's actually a little bit of advice I got from Mr. Wettrick's podcast when he had, I believe, Gary V on there.
Yep.
You've got a fancy excuse if you're saying that you got too many things you want to... Oh, no. Let me be clear about this. Let me be clear about this because I remember when we were talking about film criticism, I had to go back and clarify what I said. If you've got too many... Let's keep this in film. We're talking strictly about film. If you got so many ideas for a film that... To Gary, that's a bit of... I feel like I'm saying something terrible right here. It's okay to have a lot of ideas. You just got to pick one and go with it in order to get anything done.
Yeah.
Pick one and run with it.
Yeah, that's good.
I just felt like... Because I know a lot of people who work constantly on a lot of things, so I feel like I'm beaten down on them because they're actually able to make that work.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Sometimes if you know me really well, I think too far into things. Mm-hmm. Tom here has seen that before. I don't want to take anybody off for like with the whole film criticism. I went back and clarified that I support disclosure of sponsorships because I thought I had said something against them when we originally recorded the episode, but back to the topic at hand. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. And then we talked about remaking it, like doing it again, paper laid again.
And then we talked about doing it as a series.
Oh yeah.
With a whole different ideas.
And then we ended up not doing it because I think we didn't have enough time. or something, and then we ended up doing what happens when you put gamers together or whatever that was called. So
online gaming in a nutshell.
Yeah, oh yeah, yep. And then I played. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. Let's do this shit.
Hi, everybody. Markiplier here.
Yeah, and Brandon was Angry Joe.
Yes.
And Bryce was.
We just pigeonholed ourselves here, man.
Yeah.
I'll leave a link to it. You'll find out.
Yeah. And so you entered into the film festival, and
the issue was, the lady who's in charge, she was one of my classmates. She was all for that thing going into the film fest. The only issue was, with college broadcasting stations, they have a license to the air. They have a broadcasting license, but they also have to go, and that goes through the university and the FCC. However, any event that is put under that name, like we were the UND TV department and the radio department, and we were doing the UND Film Festival. Anything that goes under that name reflects on both the college, the department, and the FCC. So, because we had a lot of cursing in there, even if it was bleeped,
yeah,
it wouldn't. They told me this wouldn't reflect well on the department. So it wasn't allowed to be shown. And that was another failure that it wasn't a failure that I wasn't able to get anything done like with Paperweight, but it was a failure because that should have been sent in earlier than when it had been. That way I could be told by these people, this isn't going to reflect well, you might want to change this. Because that's on me.
Yeah.
And my goal is I want to at least do either a short film or something that's closer to feature film before I turn 24.
Yeah, I have
like before the end of the decade.
Yeah, I'd like that. That's one thing I want to do with Awaken. That's one thing I need to get cracking down on. I wanted to get it out before I was 22, before my birthday next month. But to be honest, I don't. But it's not going to happen. But hope maybe by the end of the year. But by probably mid next year at the latest. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But
and you and I are going to be discussing a lot of these ideas that I've got lying around.
Exactly.
It's again, like we said yesterday, even though I kept saying get started last episode, I said that with full irony. I said that with full understanding of the irony.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that I need to just get started on, and they're. It's just depressing it is depressing to look back on your failures and see where you could have fixed them in hindsight.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing about failure, it is the greatest teacher you'll ever have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going to develop some scars along the road.
Definitely.
And they're going to hurt 20, 30 years down the line, but
but
you'll build up some immunity. So
Paperweight, that still, it stings me to my core because I wrote the script, I got everything done. I could tell you a few things that went wrong, but why? Why did that have to go wrong? It's that moment when you feel I've poured my heart into this and it didn't happen. That is very depressing for someone.
Yeah.
But you have to. But like anything, you have to look at what you did. Look at what you did wrong. Look what didn't go right. Look at what didn't go right. Look what was on your part. What you could have done better.
Yeah.
Because there are things that are outside of your control. Scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, that's the reality of indie filmmaking.
That was another conflict. I was trying to get you all scheduled for something to go back and just finish these things up. But it just wasn't working out.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of to wrap this up here, it's like, like getting out there and do.
That's another scar I've got.
What?
Because Schmidt, a good friend of ours, Austin Schmidt, was helping me on this. He was taking days off to work on this.
Yeah.
And when I
was I.
Yeah, and that makes the scar even deeper because you and him were constantly taking days off for this.
Yeah. And
nothing was happening because one actor wasn't able to do it.
Yeah.
And then Schmidt had to finally tell me, I'm going to drop out of this if you cancel another day. He had to put the boot down with me, and that's That's the biggest thing I kick myself in the ass for.
Do you think that was good for him to do that?
Yeah, I think it was good for him.
Yeah.
It was good for him. It hurts me to think, God, I made somebody that pissed at me.
Yeah,
because of how unprofessional everything was going.
Yeah, I've been thinking I've needed to do that with a couple of people. I won't name names, but yeah, that's the thing. I remember I missed when I was in choir, I missed a rehearsal. We weren't even filming. Well, it's like a day I had set off, but we met up to you, me, and Brandon met up to go at Pizza Hut.
Yeah, to talk about what to do.
Yeah, and that's how we came up with Gamers in a Nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, that's alright. I mean, I wasn't really mad about the rehearsal or anything because, I did the 18-hour day show fest. I did all the competitions. I did the musical for him. I recorded the musical for him. When Ryan couldn't do it because he was out of town. So it was just like, yeah. So I can afford to miss one rehearsal out of every day.
Apologize profusely for that.
No, don't worry about it. They didn't even take attendance, so I didn't even get counted for it. So I was just like, hey. So.
Win-win.
Yeah. So anyway, but
be ready for failure.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. And really, in anything you do, you're gonna fail a lot. So.
And the biggest piece of advice that I've gotten from Wettrick, and a lot of people will talk about this when fail forward.
Yes.
Fail forward.
Yes.
You fail, learn something, because if you fail backwards, you're still stuck where you were.
Yep. Okay.
And I feel like that was the biggest issue with paper. I think that's the biggest issue with paper. Like, I never failed forward.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I guess not let's go on too long. That's basically the gist of it. So,
mm-hmm. Well, certainly we've gone from a high to a low. I'm gushing about the rake. Oh, this moment from my filmmaking history.
Yeah. Well, so.
But hey, it's got to be talked about if we're ever gonna learn.
Yeah, I guess so. So I guess we'll close this thing out. So what's going to come? So next week, I'm actually got a freelance gig, so I'm not going to be here. So after this, we're going to record like a short 30-minute segment. Well, maybe less.
We're going to pretend like it's in real time.
Yeah, we're gonna upload that. That's going to air next week, next Monday. So and everything. So that'll come out, and that's basically it, and we'll talk more about it when we come back on the next Monday. So and so until then,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Filmmakers Roundtable. As always, if you would like us to cover any movies that are currently coming out, will be coming out in the next few years, weeks, months, whatever, please let us know and we'll be on the lookout for that. If you want us to take a look at a classic that got recognition, that maybe didn't deserve the recognition that it did in the day, or didn't get the recognition it deserved back in the day, want us to take a look at a classic or whatever, please leave them in the comments below. As always, this podcast comes out every Monday on YouTube and SoundCloud, in both forms of audio and video, as you already know by this point if you're a recurring viewer. If you're not, if you're not a recurring viewer, that's how we do things around here.
Yes.
As always, all the things that we say that will link to YouTube will be in the descriptions below. You can also find our Facebook page there, our Twitter pages, and our YouTube pages, so you can keep updated with what we're currently working on.
Yes.
That, I believe, is the outro, as it always is.
And I have my other pre-recorded outro.
Nice.
Okay, so.
Keep on filmmaking.
Alright, cool. Alright. Thanks for watching this week's episode, guys. Make sure to follow us on SoundCloud and iTunes, as well as our Facebook and Twitter pages. Don't forget to subscribe to the Roundtable, as well as our personal YouTube channels, all the links of which will be provided in the description. Thanks, guys, and we will see you on the next episode of the Filmmakers Roundtable.